Hey there, Libra, and welcome to your April 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who's working on their creative self-expression, personal growth, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you right now, I encourage you to go ahead and keep listening. I also want to say really quickly that you can use these readings for your sun, moon, or your rising sign, and it's also very possible that sometimes they don't make sense, especially if it's the beginning of the month. So if that's the case, I encourage you, if you can remember to, if you think of it, come back to this video at the end of April and see what connections you may find to your life as a whole, because there could be some really surprising thematic connections. That's usually what I hear from people. Okay, Libra. While I was tuning in for you, I got a really interesting image that definitely made me feel like there's some kind of opportunity to prove yourself in some way, and I don't think that you need to prove yourself to anyone else. I feel like this is a month in April where you can prove to yourself something that you're capable of doing, or something that you're skilled at, or something that is maybe an accomplishment of yours, perhaps even something regarding facing a fear or overcoming something. That's really the energy that I'm picking up, because while I was tuning in, I was shown an image of two hands, and they kind of opened up, and there was a little tiny bird, but it was like almost like a little songbird, and it felt like the energy as the hands kind of opened up. It felt to me almost like what's being conveyed is sort of the intelligence of the creature. I think of birds, especially little songbirds, as very, I think of birds in general as having kind of like a mental quality, like a mental acuity, I guess, because if you watch how they move, they're always kind of surveying things, and they sort of tend to look in different places like very quickly, and they have just a very high degree of intelligence, it seems, at least symbolically. They're also associated with the ability to kind of oversee a situation or see things from a higher perspective. And the fact that it's a songbird, like a small songbird, it felt like it's also connected to this idea of communication potentially as well. But I feel like the main message here is also if we zoom out even more, because I tend to analyze the spiritual messages that I get after I get them. And it also makes me think of the bird in the hand, so to speak. Like there's something that you already have that is working for you, and I feel like it's important for you to allow yourself to use whatever that is, whether it's a skill that you have, or an idea that you have that you want to pursue, or a path that's opening up for you in your life. It's important for you to trust your capability of walking that path, because I think that this is something that really utilizes your natural skills and gifts. And it's something as well that it represents something that you already have access to, I guess, something that you already are capable of within yourself. And it's more about recognizing the opportunity to use that part of you, and seeing how, that's exactly what your life situation is demanding at this time. So let's take a look at your tarot cards, and we'll get some more information. And we're also going to get you your Animal Spirit Oracle cards as always. Okay, Let's take a look. I also am getting you guys a Bob Ross card because I just feel this deck has such a beautiful, loving, and uplifting spirit to it. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to that. So we've got the bee. You guys, you got the bee and the nightingale, which is a songbird. Ah! Oh my God, so freaking beautiful. I love, this is really the magic of these readings, you guys. This is something that when I experience this, which happens quite a lot, that the meditation message will literally contains something like a creature or a concept that is shown in the cards, and it never ceases to give me that like warm fuzzy feeling of letting me know that we're on the right track with these messages. So if you're listening to this, I think it's really important, this idea of self-expression. And now this card has so many really important connections for you, Libra, because in April you do actually have your full moon in Libra. So you get one full moon per year, and this is yours, and it's on April 8th. So this is really important. With the nightingale, it looks like it's kind of artistically being portrayed as though it's sitting on the moon or standing on the moon, right? And then we have this kind of nighttime energy with the card, and also the fact that it's a nightingale clues us into kind of like the moon is the nighttime luminary. We've got your full moon showing up here clearly, and we have this sense of you, just like what I was seeing in the meditation, so freaking spooky, this little songbird singing in the night. And one of the things that I think of with this is, I don't know if you've ever experienced like a nighttime songbird. Sometimes they can be a little frustrating if you have, you know, if your home is near some trees or like any type of more wild area or even a park. Sometimes you'll be woken up in the middle of the night by one single bird that's just choosing to chirp or choosing to sing at that time. And so it's like, it sounds beautiful, or it can be a very pleasant thing, but it also can rouse you at a time when you're trying to get rest. So, but there's something about this where I feel like you're kind of being asked to be the nightingale in a particular situation in your life, Libra. I think that you are pursuing an opportunity that requires you to be kind of like a unique voice. And this could mean that you feel like you could be voicing your opinion on a topic that seems like maybe your opinion is an unpopular one for some reason, or you may feel like you are the lone person out there kind of chirping on this particular subject, or from, you know, this particular perspective that you have. But there's a sense with this card that it's like, it's really important that you give yourself full permission to be honest about what your true thoughts are on the matter. And maybe if this isn't even about communication, like for example, through podcasting or social media or through a business or whatever, it could also be just allowing yourself to pursue a creative venture that you feel like you're kind of going into the unknown with it, because the nighttime is a time of darkness. It's a time that we don't necessarily see like what's going on all around us as clearly as we do during the day. And I think that this card is really saying like the major influence in April for you is be willing to be divergent, be willing to go out into the unknown somehow. I know many of us are kind of staying home more, social distancing, staying separate. You know, many of us have our routines being shaken up right now. So this could also be referring to that level of uncertainty, but this card is also saying like it's really important for you to speak your truth. It's really important for you to create things that you want to create and take care of yourself the way that you want to take care of yourself, as well as sharing things that maybe you have been, you know, previously afraid to share in some way. I actually do see with the bee card as your path that the bee to me is always a sign of productivity happening during the month. Whenever you get the bee, it's like you're a busy bee, you know. So you're gonna be you're gonna be very busy in that way. I think that you're going to be very active when it comes to your efforts, whatever those efforts may be. And I think that it's also very possible that those efforts that you're putting out there are counterculture in some way, or that you feel are different for you for some reason. Maybe you feel like you're going against the grain, going against the mainstream, and sharing your voice, maybe particularly on a topic that is unfamiliar territory for you. It's something that I think that is very important for your sense of well-being and satisfaction, though. I think that if you don't take advantage of whatever this opportunity is, Libra, I think that you will feel sorry that you didn't use this time to be productive in this way. So I think that it's really important that you trust the opportunities for advancement that you do see, even if they are very different from the ones that you were anticipating or the ones that you were kind of engaging in before. It's really important that you just kind of let it out there, Libra, and do your thing, even if you don't see a lot of other people in your industry kind of engaging in that same topic in the same way. I think that you're going to be opening up a door potentially to a better payoff for you if it's a financial thing, or just more of a sense of creative fulfillment and satisfaction with what you're doing. So don't be afraid to be different this month. Now let's take a look at your tarot cards. Wow, we've got the High Priestess and the Seven of Wands with the Ten of Swords and the Magician. We've got the World, Six of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. Interesting that you have 3 of the sevens. You've also got a 6 and a 10. So going at this from kind of like the macro perspective, April is a time of assessment for you. It's perhaps, you know, when you go into the month, I mean, you do have 3 major arcanas here, so this is an important month for you when it comes to your spiritual development as well as your development as a creator, just in general. But there's a sense of really like having a moment to take a breath and assess like what's working and what's not working in your life. And this is probably something that a lot of people can relate to, given that many of us have more free time or more time at home than we normally would. But for you, that energy is very much being channeled into assessing maybe things like your investments, assessing practical elements of your life from a financial perspective, also assessing like your resources in general as a creative person. Like, are you really putting your strengths to work for you? Are you wasting any of your strengths or capacity on things that are not actually that satisfying ultimately for you, or that don't necessarily complete the goals that you have for yourself? I think that you are going to be in the first week of April really tuning in with the High Priestess and really getting time to process things, which is, you know, this card is also ruled by the moon, so it's like a precursor to your full moon. And then at your full moon, you have the Ten of Swords, which, you know, it's a kind of a gruesomely depicted card, but the real message of it is the end of something that has been causing you struggle, especially in the context of having the Seven of Wands preceding. The Seven of Wands shows like that last bit of struggle with something, that last bit of like fighting off some kind of a resistance or some kind of an issue in your life. But then, like, I don't know if you're just letting go of the struggle somehow, or if you are deciding like, you know what, I recognize that this thing that I've been trying to do or trying to keep doing is a struggle, and now I'm done with it at your full moon. It could be that. It could also be that you're like wrestling something to the ground in a way, like around that full moon, something that has been giving you frustration, right, with the Seven of Wands, something that's been giving you pushback. You're sort of wrestling it to the ground, and for some of you, this could represent a victory because the Magician follows. Others of you, this is like more of an internal victory of saying, you know what, I'm not going to struggle against this anymore. I'm not going to fight this anymore. So it really depends on your unique situation, Libra. If you are someone who has been struggling with something that is under your control and you're like fighting your way to the end of it, then I think that you're going to achieve that, and you're going to finish, you know, the massive project, or you're going to get to, you know, finish the job that you don't like doing, or you're going to get to leave the property where there's, you know, contention, you know, in the area, or with a neighbor, or with a landlord, or something like that. You're going to get, like, you're going to be able to leave that situation, or like you're going to stop fighting it, whatever it is. And so there's this rush of energy that happens after this kind of either completion or release that we see with, like, so you're fighting it, and it's like that final battle or that final moment of recognizing this isn't worth fighting for anymore. And then there's the release, the ending, the big breath that happens at the end of it. And then there's this rush of purpose, this rush of vitality, and this sense of very strong creative empowerment for you. So that's happening, I feel, you know, potentially around the end of the second week of April. With the Magician, you're going to probably feel an influx in your creative energies. I also feel like you're going to be, you're going to have a sense of, like, clarity is the word I really get on this. You're going to have a sense of clarity on what you're trying to accomplish and how you want to move forward. And that clarity is giving you a lot of excitement. So this is going to be an active time when it comes to your creativity and your art, or your writing, or your business, especially if it's like home-based, not just because of current events, but also just because of some of the cards that we see here are social distancing type cards with the High Priestess. Even the Magician is pictured by himself. Also, you know, the Seven of Swords for me is a card of definitely being, like, separated from the group in a lot of ways. So definitely could still see themes of social distancing and behavior related to that into April. But I see you, like, nonetheless having a lot of opportunity anyway in spite of that, and feeling very creative anyway in spite of that. So by the third week, we've got the World and the Six of Pentacles. So there is some kind of a completion with the World card, and this could be having to do with a contract, perhaps with another person. Could be a work contract if you've been under contract work somehow. There could be a completion of the contract, or there could be a sense of, like, you have balanced the scales, I want to say, which is natural because you're Libra, but you've come to a point of equilibrium. You've paid someone back, maybe. There could be a sense of, like, bills being resolved, or debts being settled, or even an agreement to reduce debt. Like if some of you have outstanding debt where there's been, like, a lot of interest that has been applied to it over time, and it's sort of, like, been this difficult thing, like, you could officially get that interest lowered. Or, you know, I sometimes have experienced this, not personally, but just, you know, have known people who've been able to call on certain things, like maybe if they have, like, a lot of fees at their bank, or if they have, you know, really high interest on a loan, they can call and sometimes ask for that to be reduced or lowered, and then, or they can make a payment on it that is, it's agreed that, like, this payment now is going to be the end of all of the payments, and so there could be some kind of, like, forgiveness on that. But I see some kind of, it definitely feels like it could be financial with the Six of Pentacles, some kind of financial completion happening, some kind of sense of, like, okay, I've fulfilled my burden, or I've fulfilled my end of things with an individual or with an organization. So there's kind of like these cards have this energy of, like, you know, it's like, done. Finished up with that, thank God. And it may not necessarily be like a thank God moment, but it feels kind of good to me. It feels like a solidifying energy with those two cards together. It's like, all right, you know, I know my place, I know what's expected of me, and I have fulfilled that. So that could definitely, some kind of energy around that when it comes to finances could be coming through in the third week of April, which does, like I said, feel solidifying and supportive. Now let's tackle these sevens that you have at the end of April. We've got the Seven of Swords and the Seven of Cups, which are two very fluid cards to interpret, I want to say. The Seven of Cups has always seemed to me like it's, 70% a water card, 30% an air card in a lot of ways, because it's a cups card. Obviously it's water, but there's always been something very airy as well to me about this card. So seeing it come up with the Seven of Air, the Seven of Swords, definitely makes me feel like there's something important when it comes to your mindset in April. There's something important when it comes to your ideas about things, and your choices and your decisions are going to potentially feel a little bit more cloudy. I want you to be really aware of situations that could become unhinged later on. I'm not saying that anyone is trying to take advantage of you, because this is a general reading and I think it would be irresponsible to say that, but I do think that it's possible that if there's anything nebulous around contracts, decisions, or conversations and agreements that you could be having with others, I think at the end of April, it would be a better move potentially to wait and see kind of where things go. Because I feel like this situation, there is the potential for you to be in a little bit of a vulnerable position or a little bit of a confused position with the Seven of Cups. And then because of that, with the Seven of Swords, you could lose something in the process of either coming to an agreement, or you could lose sight of like what really matters to you on a given subject. So I think that like this energy is more cautionary, and in a lot of ways this could be really good if you are a Libra who is, for example, a fantasy author, or if you are a musician and you love to compose like very rich, imaginative, experimental music. Something that is very vivid and colorful and sort of profound and profoundly spiritual could be, part of what you're doing at the end of the month. And if that's the case, this would be great energy for you. This would be great energy for you to do something that's very imaginative, very creative, not necessarily the best energy to come into, a hardcore binding agreement or whatever. And I think it makes sense too, because you've got this kind of like solidifying, summing up energy the week before. And so maybe because of that, you have then following that, there's this moment of like, like what am I going to do now? Or where am I going to put my effort? Or what am I going to invest in? Or, something along those lines. And so I just want to say at the end of April, it would be better to kind of reassess things and give yourself some time to really understand what your options are, than to jump into something because you feel worried that like it's gonna, like maybe for example, if it's like a commodity or stock or something like that, like you might feel this sense of urgency because something's being communicated to you in a way that conveys urgency. And these cards are really saying, like, don't be fooled into a state of desperation on something, because that is usually when you're kind of surrendering your Libra power. Your Libra power is an analysis. Your Libra power is analysis and empathy, and you're an air sign, so it's like really powerful. You have a very powerful mind, a very powerful and rational, analytical mind, and at the same time, you're very relationship oriented and very warm-hearted, I would say, as a sign. So don't be rushed into anything at the end of the month. Like, definitely give yourself some time to assess. There's no rush. And if you are engaging in something very kind of like fantasy oriented or very imaginative, I think that that would be a much better way to focus your energy at the end of the month. Let's take a look at your Bob Ross card. Oh, okay. So he says, this is not something you should labor over or worry about. Enjoy it. If painting does nothing else, it should make you happy. So I think this is really a message to enjoy the month of April and to focus your energy on things that you do find exciting and that you do find uplifting, and not to worry. You know, don't worry, Libra. Everything will be fine. Everything is working out for you so, so beautifully. And I just think that like the energy of April really is about recognizing what already is in your life that brings you joy, and what already, what aspects of yourself are already activated that are promising to you right now, and really trusting those and leaning into those in ways that you wouldn't have been able to before this crisis occurred and maybe, changed things up in your life. This is a window of opportunity. This is an opportunity to find more joy and to initiate ways to live a lifestyle that gives you more joy regularly and naturally, that you don't even have to kind of try so often to bring in more joy and happiness, but it actually is sort of built into the daily tasks and activities that you have. So I think that this is really about that, and about recognizing that April is a fresh start for you in so many ways. And so make sure that it's a fresh start that you feel good about, and that is bringing more joy into your life. All right, Libra, thank you so much for being here. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. You can also leave me a little heart emoji below and let me know that you're still with me. I love getting those from you guys, and it always makes me smile and uplifts me. It also is really supportive to my channel. It boosts my channel's status in the algorithms on YouTube. So if you want to say thank you, that's one way that you can support the channel, is just to leave me a little comment, let me know your thoughts, or leave me a little emoji, give this video a thumbs up, engage with these videos, and it really shows me that you're with me and that we're on the same wavelength, and I love reading for you guys every month. So thank you so much for being here. I will put the link to donate. Any amount is amazing and so supportive for helping me to put time and energy into these videos. I'm also planning on creating more content for you guys during the coming month, because I know that we do have a lot going on in terms of, just global events, and a lot of us are at home on the internet. So I would love to be able to share more with you guys. So if you have anything like suggestion-wise that you want me to make videos about, or questions that you have for me, definitely leave them below in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them in a video, or even make a video dedicated to the topic that you mentioned. All right, guys, I'm sending you so much love. Take care of yourselves, be safe and joyful, and I will talk to you next month. Bye.